All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Ward Radio live stream. I am your host, Cardon Ellis, and today I am joined via Zoom by a killer cast of characters. We got none other than Jonah Barnes, the Associate Professor of all things apocryphal, as well as the promised real therapist, the licensed, the credentialed, you know how that goes, the real therapist, just weighing in here on everything from satanic ritual abuse to false memories to Jonah's curious use of flannels as his most recent stylistic choice. So one of you guys I can tell has the live stream up. Dr. Cox, do you have the live stream up? I can hear my voice. Anyway, we got Dr. Michael Cox here from, what is the name of your practice again? It's Wasatch Therapy. What is it again?
Veritas Mental Health.
Oh, it's Veritas Mental Health on, is Julie Hanks Wasatch Therapy? Oh, crap. I can't remember. I apologize if I just screwed that up, but you just cross-pollinated your businesses. What can I say? You know,
return my phone calls. So
yeah. Okay, awesome. So we've got a therapist here to talk about the new series we have. And bro, I don't know about you, Jonah, but have you gotten a buttload of phone calls?
Yes, I have.
Now that this thing went out.
Oh boy.
And how do they go? Do they go like yours? Where it's like, well, you got to know about this podcast. Or, wait, but if you only knew this speaker.
Yes, and I have to repeat the adage, okay? Data is not the plural of anecdote.
Yeah.
I don't mean to dismiss anyone, but data is not the plural of anecdote. I heard from somebody who heard from somebody. I know that might be true or false. That's not data. Just saying. Please stop emailing me, okay?
Yes. Okay, and Dr. Cox, did you watch this video series?
I did, actually, yeah.
Okay, what'd you think? And then we'll get into you introducing yourself and everything. What'd you think?
I had done a little bit of research before, and so yeah, I liked it. I thought it was well done. I thought the points were well made. I've got some other things to add, obviously. That's probably why I'm here, but yeah, I think it was well done.
Okay, so basically, if you guys haven't watched yet, recently Ward Radio just launched a new project. Okay, and that new project is very simple. Okay. Let me get this right here. I got to pull up the right one. I actually did the wrong.
It's a video series and it's also a website. So a lot of work went into this. Cardon and I have been working on this for a long time. Falter Media helped us put it together. A lot of research went into this. So if you haven't watched it, please do. But it's this new project.
Yeah, so this new project is basically a 6-part series on satanic ritual abuse. Just like for 10 years, we fought against a lot of secular progressivism and a lot of wokeism, as it was called in air quotes, and so on and so forth, that came with all of its own conspiracy theories and its own kind of half-truths and so on and so forth. Now we're in a new era. Right. And there is a woke right. There's right-wing conspiracies. There's all kinds of stuff that comes with that cultural baggage. Right. And one of them is this pervasive accusation of satanic ritual abuse in North America at large, as well as in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And by the way, just so you guys know, like, it goes so far as saying that, like, the prophets and apostles of our church are engaged in infanticide and in the consumption of human flesh in the basements of temples after ritualistically abusing for years. Like it seems, anybody that remembers the satanic panic of the 80s and 90s, it seems like almost absolutely and sheerly nonsensical. Okay. But like, it persists. And it persists, especially in circles of people who are very, very loving, very, very caring, and deeply believing.
Yeah.
But oftentimes, unfortunately, I believe to a point of naivete where they begin to be exploited. And we hate the exploitation of people who are wholly decent in every way. Just like woke would weaponize empathy.
Yep.
It seems to me that a lot of satanic ritual abuse weaponizes empathy.
Yep.
So we made an entire series on this that actually chronicles the little known history of the satanic panic in the 80s and 90s and how it affected Utah, aka Mormons at the time, because in the 80s, the predominance of the population of Mormonism was still in the 80s. We didn't become a worldwide nation until the 90s.
That's true.
And we're really a worldwide church until the 2000s, and we didn't become a national church until the 90s. So,
and it goes, this is going to sound really strange. Look, when I'm on a ladder in my house, changing a light bulb or something, and my children are running around with like a ball and a rope and like doing all this crazy stuff. Okay. When they're doing that, I'll say like, guys, I feel like I shouldn't have to say this, but please don't run around me while I'm holding a light bulb and dangling on a ladder. Like, do I really need to say this? This is going to sound weird that we actually have to say this. Russell M. Nelson did not eat babies. Okay. Can we just, let's just pull the Band-Aid off. Delaney Chokes does not eat babies. Okay. That you're probably thinking, does that really need to be said? Apparently it does. Apparently it needs to be said. So this video series is helping us to kind of articulate that Delaney Chokes does not cannibalize babies. We're very excited to have Dr. Cox here. So actually, Dr. Cox and I have a connection. Dr. Cox, you guys probably don't know this, Dr. Cox was one of the OG missionaries to open up the Russian Federation to the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Wait, what?
This is bananas. Mission president was Gary Browning, who came from Helsinki to open up Moscow. He was there in 92, which is like the curtain just came up on the Russian Federation, and he was there preaching. So, Dr. Cox, we had mission lore about guys like you when I served in Russia. So
really,
we have this connection. I mean,
wow, the pressure is on now.
The pressure is on now.
Well, now you got to tell the story. Satanic ritual abuse can wait. You opened up the post-Soviet USSR to the preaching of the gospel, bro.
And make sure you get real close to your mic, Dr. Cox, so that everybody can hear you.
All right, we'll get close here. It was interesting. I was.
By the way, close means close.
Like really close. Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Ooh, there you go.
So I literally was the first group of missionaries called to Moscow, Russia. So prior to us, it was individuals from the Helsinki, Finland East Mission.
Yeah.
And so it was, it was interesting. It was me in the MTC. I always felt a little bit bad because it was me in the MTC with all these folks that had been like former CIA, FBI guys that they pulled over. There were also some that were there that had been to BYU that had studied Russian. And then I'm over in the corner going A, B, C, D. Like,
yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And so that's kind of how it was. But we got there and it was literally the mission home was in boxes. The mission office was in boxes. They were unpacking everything. We were like literally in the city of Moscow. There were about, I cannot remember how many million, but there was like maybe 20 missionaries. And so, Russell M. Nelson's son, Russ Nelson, was there serving as well. So we saw the former prophet. I met him like probably 3 or 4 times.
That was the son that survived his cannibalism.
That's right.
Yeah. That's right. It made it to adulthood.
The baby.
Did you baptize in the Moskva or the Oka?
Yes, and it was horrible. It was the most polluted. It was like literally like baptizing in the Ganges. It was like It was rough. And so they'd pull out these fish, and you'd just be like, "Oh, please don't eat that."
Oh yeah, the yellow, the little yellowing things, and the guys would sit on the stools with the vodka, and they just kind of scrape it off and eat the fish.
So, Cardon, let me put this in perspective for you. So imagine this tall, 5'11", gorgeous Russian girl with the stiletto red nails, and she's got this dried fish, and she's tearing the skin off with her teeth.
Tearing it off,
with her teeth. It
like this yellow
thing. Yes,
slimy.
It was the crazy. We all sat there and went, "Oh,
yeah,
nope, too rich for my blood. Too rich for my blood."
So, that's gosh.
Yeah, we were there, and it was great. It was a great experience. My daughter, was able to serve later on, and it was funny. She's at this Relief Society meeting, and this woman comes up to her and goes, "Are you Sister Cox?" And she's like, "I am." And she's like, "Oh, wait." And she comes back and she pulls out this old school first edition Russian Book of Mormon, and she opens up to the back, and she's got this picture in this like paquette in a Ziploc bag, and she holds it up and she's like, "That's your dad."
No kidding.
Picture
Oh, wow.
of me baptizing this woman like forever ago.
Wow.
Whoa.
That's cool, man.
Yeah,
you
good
guys,
stuff.
you guys are legends.
That's
thank
crazy. How's the church doing over there? We did an episode once on you talking about what the church is like over there since the war started, and I assume it's only gotten worse, right?
I don't think it's. I don't know, Joni. You probably know better than I do.
I mean,
it's not.
I only know what I hear. It's pretty rough. The Russian branch up here in the Northwest, we've been desperately trying to get more Russian-speaking missionaries, and the church has flat out told us there are none. There are none. We can't get any young men out of Russia. Any boys who were in Russia that could be serving, they're sent to the front.
Yeah.
Pretty bad.
Jeez,
Pretty bad.
really?
Yeah. So I tell my children, hey, we pray for everyone. We don't have enemies. We're pacifists. We love and forgive everyone except for Vladimir Putin. But everybody else we love. There are brothers and sisters. They're children of God except for Vladimir Putin. Everyone is a child of God.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's crazy, man. I can't think of something more hard. Dude, that communism and that frickin' Berlin Wall has just destroyed families. My grandfather could not. He died never having reconnected with his family that he left when he was 14 years old, because being from Poland, you couldn't go back.
Bro, it doesn't go away
Yeah.
in like a year or 10 years. It lasts and lasts. It's such a horrible.
So when I went back later, I actually lived with my ex-wife over there for a little bit, and it was interesting.
You married a Russian and divorced her, and then went to go back and live with her?
No, I
I
married a sister missionary who actually opened up Novosibirsk. So yeah. So
Wow.
Okay.
You can tell, brother, Doctor Stareshna. I don't know what to call
me
you.
brother. I'm good.
I don't know what to call you, doctor, but
Call me brother. Call me brother. Call me.
but
Mike.
Stareshna Cox has like the therapist voice. You hear this? And we went over to live with her in Moscow after. It's just this
Tell me how you feel
soothing.
about that. How do you feel
Hear
about
this? It's just like it's just I can listen to this all day. It's great. We'd like to share a message about Jesus Christos.
That's right.
Join our church, our American CIA church.
That's
I just
right.
heard.
Oh,
I just heard
yes.
comrade. That's all I heard.
Comrade.
So,
comrade.
okay. So, Dr. Cox.
Yes.
Dr. Cox. First off, tell us a little bit about yourself and what your practice is, and then I want to know how crazy it is being a Mormon therapist. All right. So, first off, tell us a little bit about yourself besides the cool Russia stuff, and then like what it's like being a therapist that's also a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
So I am an actual card-carrying member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Wow. You got one of the cards. Wow.
Right? Yep. Got my temple recommend, and I am. Let's see. I've been practicing for about 26 years now. So that's not counting internships and other things. And so I've been literally practicing for about 26 years. So I am doing all kinds of worked in all different fields. I was an administrative director over the forensics unit at the state hospital, Utah State Hospital, for a bit. I've worked with women with eating disorders, substance abuse, you named it. I've had probably one of the few therapists I'm pretty sure one of the few therapists in Utah County that has had several dissociative identity clients, which is personality. So I've actually worked with individuals with dissociative identity.
Wow. Cool. That's quite rare.
Think of what else is going on with me. So yeah, so now I currently work at my own private practice with my I got to be careful how I say this, my business partner, Logan Densley, and we're LDS therapists, and we are here. We work. We try to get as many referrals from LDS Family Services as we can. We do that kind of stuff, and we take insurance, and we just sort of are here trying to preach the good word of good therapy. And so what we've realized lately is that we've been kind of quiet and kind of sitting back, sort of letting things sort of happen. and we've just been working is what, if you want to be honest, we see ridiculous amounts of clients, and we've just been out kind of helping people. And I was talking to him like, about a year or so ago, and I said, we're going to have to start doing some things differently, because we have to start stepping up and saying this is not good therapy. And so there's
Like
a lot.
what's because
Yeah.
I want to know what do you see as like
So,
an actual licensed therapist that's bad therapy?
right. So I am gonna. Here I go. You guys ready? You guys will be here. You guys will be able to say I was ground zero there when Mike committed professional suicide.
Okay.
So, so, so and it's funny because it goes back to my dad, who was an attorney, and he was kind of this cow farmer, came from the farm, attorney, and he was like, those who can do it. Those who can't do it very well, teach it.
Teach it.
And those who can't teach it, enforce it or police it. And so the problem is that I know it's a bit of a jab, and so I'm going to probably get my license. I'm going to get my license questioned this year for sure because of that.
You're getting audited.
I'm totally getting audited.
Yeah, you're gonna get audited.
Which is fine because I'm up on all my hours. So you guys can all go pound dirt. But like the point is that's kind of the idea. And I know that's a little bit of a statement, but if you follow the money, right, which was I teach my interns, if you follow the money, where's the money? The money's in the doing, not in the teaching or the policing. So you're going to see clients, you're going to have your own private practice, you're going to do that kind of stuff. But what we've seen is this, and I think this actually parlays nice into the satanic panic thing, is it's how do we get clout as therapists, as especially Utah County is flooded with therapists. How do you actually get clout? And that becomes kind of a problem. So we kind of want to. So a lot of the tropes, a lot of the ideals that we see as therapeutic ideals, are actually kind of clout gathering tropes. And I'm going to give you again. I'm going to commit suicide here. Here's an example. For example, let's say I am LGBTQ plus affirming. And so it's really funny. I had a conversation with a colleague not too long ago, and I said, what does that even mean? Like I know you say that, and I saw it on your website. What does that even mean?
Oh.
And when you dive into it, it's like, I don't know what that means. And they're unable to explain it other than I know what it's like, or I'm sensitive, or I'm supportive of that. And the answer is, so let me ask you a question. If someone came in and they were straight, would you not be supportive?
Yeah, right. How does that?
So there's a basic pretense of therapy, and it's called client self-determination. And what that means is that the client gets to decide their values and their systems. And so part of what you're doing in therapy is, what are their value systems? What are they working from? What do they value? What's important? And then how do you feather that in with what you know works? So the problem is you can say I'm LGBTQ affirming, but the issue is any good therapist should be LGBTQ affirming. So it becomes more of a marketing trope.
Right.
Hey, come talk to me, because when you say what do you do differently, the answer is nothing.
Nothing. You just kind of say I'm affirming. Well,
also here's my only problem with when I hear that.
Okay.
Is there aren't two truths out there. There's only one truth out there.
Right.
So let's just take it into something less politically charged. Mathematics. Okay. Right. There's only one real answer in a base 10 system of what is 2 + 2. That's 4. And if somebody is mistaken because of, I don't know, some mental illness, because of some caprice, because of some math teacher was bad in high school, that 2 + 2 = 5. Am I supposed to say now that, you have the right to self-determine that 2 + 2 = 5 because maybe 2 + 2 = 4 is causing you stress, or you might lose a friend over it, or whatever? It's like there's and let's not put it in the LGBTQ arena because that's just way too politically charged. Nobody can think straight. But like, whether it's feminism, whether it's LGBTQIA, whether it's geopolitical involvement in war in the Middle East, whatever, like there's really only one truth of the matter about like what is more healthy. Is having a higher BMI or a lower BMI good for you? You can't just be like a body positivity therapist, because if you're trying to help somebody who's overweight, pre-diabetic, nearly morbidly obese and about to die 20 years earlier, and give him a pat on the back and say, "You go, girl. You go, brother. Like, I'm here to support you and self-determine you as a healthy adult male, because girl power, man power." You know what I'm saying?
So, Cardon, I know what you're doing here, okay? This is the naked swipe you're taking at the Calvinists. Oh, objective truth, mathematics, being overweight. Okay, I know. We see what you're doing, okay?
No,
you're
so
just
it's
taking
like-
a swipe at the Calvinists out there.
But doesn't by nature just saying I'm affirming of something that's an obviously just dichotomous political position automatically show you that I'm not loyal to a third party truth? Like, when I have a therapist who's called as a special witness in court, it's because I want him to be a third party observer who doesn't care about who's right or wrong. He's just there to represent what the truth of the matter is as an expert, as a third party expert. When you say that I'm X, Y, or Z affirming, you're not telling me that you're actually a third party observer that I can trust with, you know, giving me advice about what a better path in my life is. You're just telling me the dogmatic,
Right.
you know,
Your catechism, yeah.
Well,
yeah, the
and-
dogmatic catechism of whatever you're affirming. Like, you know what I want to affirm? I want to affirm America's geopolitical involvement in every war in the Middle East, because I think we should run the place and have a military base in every country. Like, what? Are you going to be a therapist that has now, like, you know, the...
Well, yeah.
So actually, I might throw you a little bit of a curveball today, and that's okay. I mean, I hope that we can have some good debate and maybe even a little good banter. But I think actually you're going to agree with me, and it comes down to this. Notice what I said is that you kind of want to go where they're at in their belief system, but you want to feather in what you know works, and therein is where the truth lies. And so let me give you an example, and I'm afraid I'm going to go back to the LGBTQ plus, if that's okay. I know that's a little bit political. Since I've
Sure.
already completed political suicide, I'm not gonna piss off Dr. Hanks by going into feminism. So here we go. So here's the deal. So for example, this is going to shock you guys, but if you are unfaithful, if you are abusive to your straight spouse, you're going to have marital problems.
Wait, slow down.
No, I know, right? If you
Hold on.
if you're unfaithful and abusive to your gay partner, you're also going to have relationship problems. The weird thing about this is what works in one works in the other. It's not like you can say, "Oh, you're gay. Well, then you cheat as much as you want, and that's going to work great for you."
Mm-hmm.
And so people will say, well, "Okay, but Mike, what if we're in an open relationship and we've decided to be in an open relationship?" That's where I look at you and I say, "That's fine. I'm not trying to say you can't do that. I'm here to tell you that in 26 years of doing that, I have never seen that work long term. Someone gets offended, someone gets their feelings hurt, something goes awry."
Have you seen Arrested Development? Where
Yeah.
they're like, where the couple is like, just not working in our marriage. Something's not working. You know, maybe we should try an open marriage. Well, I know open marriages like never work. They've never worked ever. No one's ever pulled it together, and every study ever shows all the data overwhelmingly. It's a catastrophic failure.
Yes.
But maybe it would work for us.
We can do this if we work hard. Right? No,
But maybe we're the exception.
You're
No,
the-
you're not. You're not the exception.
always the exception. And so there does feather in this idea of that's awesome and I love that for you, but it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And that's kind
Interesting.
of the problem. And so you're kind of feathering in what actually works.
Interesting. So we have Cardon. I put. Oh wait, did I put? Oh, maybe I didn't put. Here, let me throw in the Discord here. There's a couple clips I really wanted to get Dr.
Okay.
Cox's reaction to.
Okay, hit it.
And I think I just put in the Discord here. It's just a timestamp, so you'll have to stop it after a few seconds.
Got it.
But I want to play this clip of a therapist. This is Dr. Barbara Snow, and some of her behavior during the beginnings of the Lehi Alan Hadfield case. Now, if you haven't seen the series on the Satanic Panic and the Glenn L. Pace memo that we just released, this might be a little confusing for you. But you can go see these. There's a playlist available on Word Radio right here. You can go see it. And this is from part 2, where it talks about the Satanic Panic in Utah in particular, where a very enterprising young therapist came to Lehi, Utah, and stirred up some hornet's nest, stirred up some trouble here. So, Cardon, if you could play a little bit of that, I'd love for Dr. Cox to get your reaction to this. Play a couple seconds of this.
Yeah, also, I noticed that you're wearing the same flannel.
Yes.
Yeah, you're wearing the same
Continuity.
flannel.
No, I've converted to Protestantism, so I wear flannel now.
Yeah, you and Matt Walsh. Rock on, except for he's Catholic.
I'm the flannel. He's got the flannel.
Okay, cool. So here we go, pressing play now.
This is the story of how the most family-friendly state,
whoops.
the home of the...
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Skip to 3 minutes and 40 seconds.
Okay, so here we are.
Wrong timestamp. Sorry
at
about
3
that. Here we
minutes
go.
and 40 seconds. Go.
Eventually, the accusations started to pile up. The local bishop, Bishop Burnham, and his wife were accused, and their children were taken away and placed into foster care by family services. Dr. Snow called the bishop's counselor and demanded that he get a confession out of the babysitter, and he refused. She demanded that he tell other people about the accusations, which he also refused. She threatened to go to the press. How would it look that this bishop's counselor was not willing to be aggressive against abuse? Wouldn't that look like the church was covering up child abuse? The counselor later recalled, "I realized I had no permission or authority to talk to the children either in my professional or ecclesiastical position."
That's
Dr.
perfect.
Snow
You can pause right there.
Okay.
So in reading this and researching this, Dr. Cox, a couple times I had to stop and say, is this something that therapists do? Like, it's a criminal investigation and she's calling witnesses. She is like, you need to get a confession. You need to go talk to, I'm thinking,
But yeah, before you ask Dr. Cox, can you please give the background on this? Is this
Yes.
the guy whose life was ruined in Utah by fake accusations?
Different guy.
Okay.
Thank you, Cardon. I should give context. So this was the beginning of this case in Lehi, Utah, where a babysitter, well, supposedly a child said, a woman called up Dr. Barbara Snow and said, my children are talking too freely about sex. And Dr. Snow said, well, bring them in. So she brings in, talks to the child for heaven knows how long, and says, I think they've been abused. Okay? So, well, by whom? Well, by the babysitter. Well, the babysitter happened to be the daughter of the local bishop of Lehi 8th Ward. And so now it's like, whoa, this daughter, do the parents know what's going on? So Child Protective Services come in and take the bishop's children away and put them in foster care. There's been no trial. There's been no indictment. There's been no nothing.
Jeez.
Children are gone.
Okay.
Now, Dr. Barbara Snow is calling the bishop's counselor, so the first counselor in the bishopric,
Okay.
and is saying, you need to get a confession out of this person. You need to go ask that person. You need to go do all these things. And the bishop's counselor is saying, look, lady, this is law enforcement. Like, I'm not doing anything for you. And he says no. And I thought, is she running point on this investigation? Very strange behavior. I don't know, Dr. Cox. What's your take on this?
Well, so actually, I've thought about this several times, quite a bit since I watched this.
Get your
this little
face in that mic too, bro.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
So the idea is this. Here's the key. And I'm hesitant. I want to answer your question by asking another question.
We love
Okay.
that.
Okay. If you like that, I'm going to do that because I would love to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're a BYU co-ed, right?
Okay.
You're at a party. Something goes south. You're pretty sure you've
I
been
blame the
sexually
boy and
assaulted.
say I was raped, so my dad's not angry.
Jeez.
Right.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
you go-
sorry. Is that
You
like not a
go
thing?
to the honor code office and you say, I'm pretty sure this is what happened. As an honor code individual, what do you do? Do you investigate that, or do you turn that over to a police because there's been sexual assault alleged?
Well, I would say it would depend on what we were talking about here. Like if somebody just
If you were
said,
sexually assaulted,
okay, if it's sexual assault, then obviously you have to involve the authorities where appropriate.
I'd tell the kid, I'd say, I wasn't there. I didn't see it. If you did, here's the number. I'll dial it for you. You should call the police on that.
let's get you to the hospital. Let's do a rape kit. Let's get this all figured out as quickly as possible, because me taking 3 weeks to gather, bring in people and interview them and discuss this and that kind of stuff. Not only am I muddying with evidence, not only am I intervening in a criminal case, I'm not getting it over to the authorities so they can do their job. What I should do is I should step back and say, let's get the authorities involved. So if you're ever alleging abuse, if you're ever abuse is as alleged in front of you, you say, then you need to go to the police. This needs to be investigated. That is their job. They investigate crimes. Now I'm going to say a couple of things. Again, this is going to get me into some more trouble, but maybe I'll be a plumber after this. I don't know. We'll see.
That's okay. We need plumbers, man.
Yeah,
right.
Good job, brother.
But here's the thing. And I have testified in court. I was in a forensics unit, which is the criminally insane unit at the state hospital. I have been around. My first job was working with court-ordered sex offenders. So I have been around court. I've been in court almost like most of my career. And here's the facts. Therapists are categorically awful at determining truth. So you never rely on a therapist to determine truth. So if you're a judge and you're calling a therapist in to say, did this or did this not happen, you are wasting your time, because a therapist has no magic divining rod. They're taught no magic skill set on how to determine, is this truthful or is it a lie? So what I can tell is, does this person believe it? So all I can testify. So a judge will oftentimes, and I've been asked this before on a stand, Mike, did this happen? And the answer is, I don't know. But I know that they believe it happened. Now, does that mean they're deluded? Does that mean they misremembered? Does that mean they are making it up? I believe that they believe it.
You sure?
And so therapeutically, we don't question truth. So example, I come to you as a therapist and I say, oh, I was sexually abused as a child. I don't look at you and go, prove it. What do I do? I say, oh my gosh, that's so horrible. Tell me what happened. Now you might say some things that don't make any sense, and I'll go, are you sure? Because that doesn't add up. Now that can happen, but I can't tell if you just got the facts wrong on that one little bit or whatever. And remember, memory is a very dicey subject. It's always, especially when you have trauma involved. And so just as a quick little, I got to do this little soapbox, and then I'll let you guys talk again here as well. But think about this. Joseph Smith, he has this vision. But remember what happens before the vision.
Well, which one of the 7? Which one of the ones that was hid in the locker? Which one of the...
But Cardon, that is precisely what I'm talking about. And he can't remember exactly all the details. And the answer is, wow, it sounds like maybe he was overcome by a dark entity from the other world to the point where he thought he was about to lose his life. Is that or is that not trauma, brothers and sisters? And the answer is, that is trauma. And so when you tell me that Brother Smith had a hard time remembering exactly all the details of it, I'm going to tell you that actually lends credibility to it. Not taking away from it. Because if you ask any victim exactly what happened, there's going to be parts of it that they're going to get wrong. They're going to think it through and go, wait a second, it probably wasn't that, it was this. Especially when you have years that have passed since that occurrence.
Wow. Now, I want to talk to you more about false memory in a minute.
Yes.
But there's another clip. Cardon, could you head to 6 minutes and 55 seconds of that same part 2?
Okay.
Part 2, 6 minutes, 55 seconds. So this is after this investigation is taking place in Lehi. Everyone's accused. 40 adults in one ward are accused of being part of this child sex ring. It's crazy. Okay. And when finally Utah County is like, there's no evidence, we're done. Okay. Now the investigators start coming out and talking about how they lost faith in this investigation. So go ahead, play a little bit of this starting at 6:55 of part 2 of the series. Go ahead.
Okay, here we go.
Abuse had taken place in Lehi. Local law enforcement started to suspect the therapists had been unreliable. The interview wasn't going anywhere, so Dr. Snow sat the boy on her lap with her arms around him, and then some responses began to occur. At one time, Dr. Snow embraced a child, and the child tried to get away. She asked leading questions. The child was playing with dolls, and those were taken away. Video recordings revealed that during one session, Dr. Snow drew a set of stickmen on a chalkboard and told the children, "Here are the perverts, and they are smiling because they are getting away with it." She doesn't know what role she's in. Professionally, it is the most ill-advised thing she could do. The
All right,
county...
go ahead. That's great.
Okay.
Okay, I see you shaking your head, Stareshna. What did she get wrong?
I'm not even sure where to start with that. That is, I mean, is that? I don't even think that's admissible in court, is it? Like, I mean, it's clearly.
Well,
again,
that's the thing, is it was, dude. Like,
Maybe it's not anymore, but
well, maybe not in this case, but I'm just saying, like, I lived through the satanic panic of the 90s in the elementary schools of Los Angeles. And you know how just like there was the baby boom, but then there was the echo, right, of like those younger kids that came afterwards, right? I wasn't there in that 1979 to 1983 part. I wasn't born yet, right?
some of us were.
But yeah, some of you, yeah, exactly. But I do remember in the 90s, like, dude, when I started playing Magic the Gathering, like, my mom freaked out because the Christian right literally had Dungeons and Dragons and anything fantasy in its crosshairs as being like purely satanic. And my mom, when she found out I'd like bought a card game with like dragons on it, she literally sat me down with the most concerned look in my eyes, like asking if like I was suicidal or if I was like summoning evil spirits or if like she literally, I might as well have come home a child, like corn.
You've got the,
you know what I'm saying? Like
D&D with tarot kind of feathered in.
Yeah, right.
Dude, I
Little-
couldn't, dude, there was a period of time. My mom later on in life realized it was kind of stupid, but there was a period of time where like suburban mothers were convinced that face cards were evil.
Yes, face cards.
Like
was
I
the
wasn't
thing.
allowed to play for like 2 weeks. Then my mom got over it because half the card games she wanted to play with her family, she realized are ruined without the face cards. You know what I'm
Nice.
saying? So I give my mother credit, all right? But there was a period of time where she was freaked out and like took the face cards out. Well, actually, I shouldn't say she was freaked out. That as a public educator, there was so much hullabaloo about it that as a teacher, when she wanted to use cards to teach mathematical principles to the kids, she had to remove the face cards from the decks of cards in her classroom so that parents wouldn't complain and think that they were doing something
jeez.
satanic in class.
Wow.
So it was less my mother as much as just like the zeitgeist
general-
that still persisted amongst mothers in America because of the satanic panic.
Wow. So what did she get wrong, Dr. Cox? Come on. What did she get wrong?
You know, and that's an interesting question. I think that, again, I'll go back to my first statement. We're horrible at finding facts. We can't. It's hard for us to tell what happened. We know what the person thinks happened. It's really difficult to say, yeah, this is it, this isn't it. You can kind of tell sometimes they're lying. Like that's an easy one. Like here's an interesting point. It's easier for me to tell if someone's lying than if they're telling the truth. And let me explain what I mean by that. Is I can point out, okay, this person's lying, right? And then you get, oh, that makes sense. I catch them in a lie. Two facts don't add up, and they go, oh, okay. Whereas, saying is if everything kind of is level and it adds up, is it truthful? And the answer is, I don't know. I can tell they think it's the truth or not, but I can't really tell if it's actually true.
Are you agnostic to whether or not it happened?
No, we of course we care. We want because we're trying to help them work through it. But the key is whether it happened or not, we don't dwell on that. We work through the issue. Does it make sense? So for
Yeah.
example, even if Jonah, if you're like, I was abused, I don't say like bull crap and then
Right.
don't believe you. I say, okay, we're going to work as if Jonah is abused. And then over time, what happens is it becomes clear and you go, you know what? I'm not sure I was abused. And I'll go, yeah, probably not. But you still do the work by going through that process. Me saying you're a dirty liar, you're going to go, no, and go find another therapist.
Yeah. Well, maybe it turns out to be true. True or false, the work you're doing is still good
Right.
work you're doing, right?
So like, what are you
But
paid to
we
do?
don't rely on
Like,
what's that?
what are therapists paid to do in society? If
Hey,
they're
easy
not,
there. Easy there, buddy.
it's like, yeah, But I mean, I guess I'm just kind of asking that. It's just like, so what are you supposed to do if not just tell somebody like, no, actually you're wrong. Like,
Well,
you
so
do it in a loving way, do it in a safe environment.
Sure,
but like,
sure.
for example, if somebody's got a phobia that's so bad of spiders, let's just say, I worked in pest control for a long time. If somebody has an arachnophobia so bad that they can't go back in their house because they saw a spider once, and they're living in a hotel that's costing them $500 a night, and they've just got an arachnophobia so bad, are you really just supposed to sit there taking their money at $350 an hour just to say, so tell me how the spiders make you feel? Or at like some point, do you round the corner and say, okay, we get they make you scared, and we get that they've been scary for lots of people and you're justified and this is a safe spot and everything like that. But Jason, you need to go back home. We hired a pest control person. You're going to be fine. Humankind has lived next to spiders for probably, 50,000 years.
Its entire existence.
Its entire existence. You will make it through the night. If it's so bad that you feel we need exposure therapy, I will gladly sign you up with a doctor that can do arachnophobic exposure therapy. But like tonight, you need to go home, buddy. I'll go there with you. I'll call a friend, but like,
well, this could
you
be
need to
why
go
you're
home.
not a therapist, Cardon. This could be, why, So I mean, yeah.
No, but like
sometimes-
seriously, like at what point, like, would you feel a moral obligation to do that? Because if not, why the heck as a father am I sending you, like, if my daughter's got an eating disorder, I don't want to send her to a freaking therapist that's not going to tell her she's wrong.
So, okay. It feels a little bit like that scene in Office Space where the guy, the guys that are hired in to fire people goes, what exactly is it that you do? Here? Right. What would you say you actually do here? Right. No, I love it. It's a great question. Here's the thing. What we're focused on is not, are spiders dangerous or not? We're focused on how to get you over this fear of spiders. Does that make sense? And remember, it's the unrational or the unreasonable fear of spiders. If you see that spider and it's got a little red hourglass on its belly, Cardon, and you see your son come up and go, oh, look, Daddy, look what I've got. What do?
You freak out.
Well, no, less than 2% of bites are systemic. I would say, look, you're about to learn a really big lesson right here if you don't listen to me. You know what I'm saying? It's going to hurt like a bee.
I freak out. I freak out like, yeah.
Right.
But I'd reach over and just smack it for him real fast. Just be like, boom, I just saved you a lot of problems, buddy.
Right. But that's a reason. That makes sense. It's reasonable. If you freak out because it's got a red hourglass, you're going, okay, that's dangerous. But if you're like, it's a normal spider and they're like, oh, and freaking out, you go, okay, that spider is going to be fine. Your fear is not rational. And so what we don't focus on is it dangerous or not? Or are spiders dangerous? That's more factual. It's like, how do we work with the spiders? How do we figure this out? But you are in fact right. There comes a certain point where you do have to say, maybe there's a problem there. Like maybe this isn't right. Maybe my joke is always, if there's a Simpsons. I don't know how much Simpsons I can quote here and not get in trouble.
Go for it.
There's a Simpsons episode where Ralph is like, the doctor says if I keep my finger out of there, it'll stop bleeding so much. And the answer is truth. Like that is 100% right. Like,
get your finger out of there.
Get your finger out of there. And so I think there's a certain point where you say like, yeah, maybe you need to get your finger out of there and it'll stop bleeding. It's maybe all your extramarital affairs are probably causing you some marital discord. Like I know I'm going to go out on a limb there and say, yeah, that doesn't make sense. And so you're right. There is a point at which we have to do some reality testing and checking, but for the most part, we still say, okay, look, what are you going to do with that? And if they're okay with it, you kind of say, well, okay. So for example, let's say someone's having an affair and you say, okay, does your spouse know about it, right? So we'll cause a little drama here. So let's say Cardon's having an affair, right?
Don't do it. Not my mom. My wife's watching. She'll analyze my actions. You weren't aghast enough when he suggested it.
He
You know
didn't
what I'm
cringe enough,
saying?
did he?
So
He didn't
look,
cringe. He could
utter
afford it.
sheer cringe. I
That's right.
never would. This
That's
is
right. That's
not
right.
my hypothetical. Choose Jonah. Choose Jonah.
Choose me. Hey, I'm getting accused of eating babies right now, so hey, bring it on.
So it's like you can say, you're having an affair, and we could say, okay, does your spouse know about that? And you're like, absolutely not. And I could say, well, should you tell them? You know, maybe to go forward with a very authentic, open relationship, you should be open and honest about that. But Jonah could look at me and say, absolutely not. And I, as a therapist, force him, lean on him, pressure him to go forward with that information to his wife. And the answer is no. I say, okay, I think that's a bad idea. And I can confront a little bit about, you know, you're wanting this honest relationship with your spouse, but are you really being honest? But if he says, yep, I get it, that's not great, that's my mulligan, I don't know, however you want to frame that in your head to make that okay, you can go forward, and that's a thing. And so again, the key is we don't have an expertise. We don't focus on truth. And so when you call therapists in as the main evidence, as the main witnesses, you're already in really hairy space, because they don't do that well. We're not trained to do that well. It's not what our skill set is.
So why are we doing this as a society? And I'm going to get to super chats, guys, here. I'm sorry. We've waited really long on super chats, but like, you guys are the bishops of secular society.
Right.
Like, therapists are the bishops of secular society. And you have been used and abused and like played like fiddles by the woke left and the woke right in America. The woke right abused you. Yeah, the woke right abused you guys in the 80s and the 90s, all the way up to the early 2000s, as justification of the satanic panic. And then I've never seen more lives destroyed than through online therapists preaching every weird caprice of feminism, of wokeism, of secular progressivism. Like, literally, a woman can walk into a therapist, obese, hating men, wanting a divorce, and ready to do something just drastic in her life no one would recommend. And there's therapists out there that would say, girl power.
Yeah.
Girl power. You know? And it's like, holy crap. Is there no baseline for like what creates a thriving life? And all of them quote therapy. Like honestly, who are the biggest Exmos? All therapists. And I should say ex-Mormon, anti-Mormons. All therapists. The I hate my dad to hating the church, to want to do damage to the church and becoming an ex-Mormon, anti-Mormon, to gonna go get like, I want to up my anti-Mormon game by going to get, you know, my therapy license. That's like the pipeline of 2007 to 2020 anti-Mormonism right there. All done under the guise of therapy. I've never seen divorce recommended by more women to other women under the guise of bettering your life through therapy.
Oh, bro.
Than
yes,
in my entire life, dude.
Yes, 100%. A very dear friend of ours. Couple. I mean, I can think of rattle off the top of my head 3.
I was going to say just one.
Oh, you know, some quite dear to me that. Things were rough, and then they went to these therapists.
I don't know what is in. I don't know what is in some of these weightlifting supplements, but some of my guy friends that as soon as they've gone really hard at going to the gym and taking tons of supplements, it gets to their head somehow, or I don't know what chemicals are in there, but they'll cheat on their wives and leave with some gym rat and just like throw their lives down the tubes. Like, it's one thing to be healthy. It's another thing to just like throw your life down the tubes. So it's like creatine, protein packs and powder is to men and the gym bro culture as freaking therapy is to divorce and women in modern culture. It's like, I swear I know more people whose lives have been ruined by therapy than helped by it, dude. So, and it's sad though, because the people that have been helped greatly, right? So like, why do we keep listening to you, class of people, if like you could just be so abused? And I mean, maybe that's not your fault, but like,
there's so many posers. There's so many, and how can we tell, for our audience and listeners, how can we tell? Are we getting a Dr. Cox? or are we getting a Dr. Hanks? Like, how do we tell that?
Oh, dude, brutal,
Well,
man, brutal.
Again, if you
She
ask
came
my
on the
ex-wife,
show and she was very gracious. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
It's
I know.
like-
if you ask my ex-wife, you'll say which was the bad guy there, right? I think
don't get
here's
it.
the thing. Here's the deal. I think that you have to always remember that divorce is the nuclear option. It doesn't get much more nuclear than divorce. Maybe suicide, but like hopefully we're not kicking that ball around. And so it's like, so literally divorce is the nuclear option. And so that's kind of item number one. But I think what drives a lot of this is, unfortunately, and I'm going to say this, I think what drives it for the patients or the clients is that they're trying to make sense of what's going on. I feel certain ways. I have certain feelings. I have certain thoughts. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I'm trying to make sense of that. And oftentimes they're grasping for straws, like whatever seems to fit, whatever pasta seems to stick to the wall. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of therapists take advantage of that. And I know that sounds horrible. I don't know that they're doing it like there's this big malicious thing. I think sometimes it is a little bit, but it's this idea that I'm going to get this niche. I'm going to be this specialist. I'm going to be this expert. I'm going to have this focus. And the idea is that then I get clout. It's that people are going to come to me. My sessions go from, $60 an hour to $260 an hour and up. That's kind of the idea. And unfortunately, you follow the money, and there is a thing there, and
there's a cash bias and a profit incentive.
Therapy is a business, and here's the problem: if I say, sister, I love you to death, but you're fat,
You lose that client.
I just lost that client.
Well, I wouldn't say fat. Like, even I have a heart, and I wouldn't just say you're
sorry.
fat. But I'd say, like, your body mass index.
Dr. Cox, brutal, man.
Who is this guy?
By the way, I like you more now. No, I'm just kidding.
I know he worked for 8 years with eating disorders too. Like, you'd think he'd be more sensitive than that. But at the end of the day, you have to say, like, I think you might need to lose weight.
Yeah.
Like, how do you say that to somebody? Cardon, think about this. Jonah, think about this. At some point, if you're a therapist, you're going to get this nice kid. He's going to be sitting in your office, and you're going to say, hey, look, I've been thinking about your efforts to date and how they're really not going very well. And I'm thinking maybe if you showered once a week, it might drastically increase your ability to pull in a good girl. And you could laugh about that, but the truth is, we got that problem. But then, what does my client say? Oh, he said I stunk, or he said, oh, I was
Well,
stinky.
there's this balance, right? Because it's like, you have a business. This is your livelihood.
Right,
your
right.
livelihood is actually exacting help with people.
Right.
But sometimes they don't want to be helped in the right ways.
Okay, so here's my question. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just got to ask you point blank now, because this is the subject of the video, and I don't want to bury the lead.
Okay.
But even though we're 53 minutes in and it's already buried, I will get to super chats. What do you think of all the therapists during the satanic ritual abuse? Like, what would you do if somebody came in and said, I think I was ritualistically abused throughout my childhood, witnessed children being sacrificed on altars in stake buildings and in the basements of temples, and I'm pretty sure Thomas S. Monson was there. I'm pretty sure Gene B. Bingham and Kirby Hayborn were in the crowd, and apparently so was Chuck Norris in the 90s, but we won't mention him because that's passé.
Literally Chuck Norris.
God
So-
rest his soul.
Yeah, so it's like what would you do if somebody came to you and they said, my child was satanically ritually abused?
I would do what every therapist should do. I would say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that happened. That sounds horrible. And then I'd say, tell me your story. And as they're telling me their story, I'm validating. I'm saying, oh my gosh, I'm sympathizing. I'm empathizing. I'm connecting with them, because at some point down the road, after they've told me their story, we have this very important moment, and it's pinnacle in all trauma therapy. And it goes like this. So now what? and it's this horrible thing happened to you. You had this horrible experience. So now what? Do you just roll over and die? Do you try to figure out how to move past this? Like, what do we do?
Okay,
now?
wait. Hold on a second.
Wow.
I'm sorry, but I just got to push back on this. Some
Okay.
doesn't feel right about that to me.
Okay.
Because to me, if there really were a cabal of worldwide satanic ritual abusers, that would be something worth quitting your job and fighting 24/7. So if you just validate that premise, well, no, I'm just saying if you just validate that premise that like, oh yeah, that I'm sorry that happened to you. All right. Is that not perpetuating a psychosis?
No. Because here's what we do. So let me explain. No, great question, Cardon. I love this question. I'm glad you asked it. Because it's deeper than that. Because what you do is you say, okay, what can you do? So for example, I had a client and I love her to death.
No, but you can't avoid the power of Satan if he's literally able to just sequester you as you're walking down the street and you're not introducing a locus of control to the person by validating the premise of supernatural satanic abuse. You're validating a premise that they have zero control over because it's supernatural, which to me is a wildly unethical thing to do.
100%. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. They have to have control over the situation. So when I ask the question, now what? I'm giving the client back control. I'm giving the patient back control. So what are you going to do? You have to do something with this. So here's what we do. For example, I was saying I had this client who was very brutally raped. And I said, so what do you do? She's like, well, I think I need to report. And I go, great, let's go have your report. So she reported, and they went through this process. But here's the thing, and what we teach.
By the way, hold on that report. Let me get my baseball bat and break his kneecaps first. Then we'll report it. You know,
right. We'll take him hunting, right? He'll have
for real
cap on when we go hunting. But so we like report that, and then I say to her, look, go in, tell your story as truthfully as you can, and then you have to let it go. Because what happens to him in the court, whatever deal he gets with the judge, however, what sentencing goes, whether he's convicted or not, isn't your business anymore. You've done what you can do. You've told your story.
You need to begin the process of healing, is what you're saying.
And the process of healing is, now what? How do I get my life back? What do I do next? And so here's a little trick that I do with people who are sexually assaulted, just really quick, is I'll say, go to a sporting goods store, get yourself 2 canisters of mace, take one up the canyon, and practice deploying it on some poor, unsuspecting tree, right? Practice using this mace, then keep it on your keychain. And what it does is it gives you a little bit of control over that situation. Does it mean you'll never be sexually assaulted? I can't promise that. But it gives you a sense of control. And so you start buying them in these little bits and these little things here, little things there, ways to control it. The problem is when you make it, you're going to go to court and you're going to testify, and this is going to be your thing. And you're going to be validated and vindicated through what happens through the court process. You both know that, and we all know that sometimes that goes great and sometimes that does not go great.
Okay, so then here's my
I don't key their future. I don't key their healing on what the court does. I key it on what they do.
Okay, wait, but hold on. I see a massive flaw in this.
Okay, all right.
Is that I think that's true with standard run-of-the-mill rape. Okay, I think that's true with, we know that most, and I have to tone down my use of the R word for the YouTube algorithm so it doesn't get restricted. But most people that are R'd, we know it's by somebody that they see every day. It's not a white van that sequesters them. You know, it's not the Albanian mafia like in Taken, you know, or something like that. It's usually somebody they see every day. Okay. And so I think, okay, cool. Well, be cognizant of the statistics and how much time you spend with your neighbors or that weird uncle or your friend or just whatever. Okay. But when it comes to the specific accusation of supernatural, ritualistic abuse, we'll say for the YouTube algorithms, right? Done in the basements of the chapels, in the basements of the temples, at the Provo Tabernacle. I've heard every weird accusation now, okay? You can't just say, okay, now, well, to protect yourself from that, you need to go to church with mace. So now you have a little bit more control. No, because by validating that premise that does happen at church, now you're establishing that church, the only thing, I believe, the atonement of Jesus Christ is the biggest healer. So now you're taking one of the biggest healing mechanisms that they have in their lives as members of the church, and by validating the premise that it happened at church, when we can prove that it didn't, like, obviously I'm not talking about a real actual rape that could have happened at a church. And for those people, millstones.
See, yeah, but wait a minute, Cardon. But let me.
When they say that there's a circle of people in hooded cloaks and car crashes that didn't happen, like Pastor happened, and like when you know that it didn't happen, you can't say, here, take mace to church, because that validates the presence, the premise that the church is a dangerous place, and we avoid dangerous places. Therefore, we're now avoiding the thing that's going to help us heal.
But wait a minute. How many times, Dr. Cox, have you heard someone's, I was abused or whatever it is, and you've known right from the very beginning that it was a lie? I imagine that there's many times when you're right in the middle and you're like, you expect therapists to validate all these things? They're not detectives. They're not law enforcement.
Yeah, I know they're not detectives, but some of this crap has got knucking futs. Like at some point.
But Cardon, let me ask you a question. Is there a devil?
Yes.
Is there such thing as possession?
Yes.
Does the devil make covenants as well with people?
He breaks them, that's for sure.
He always does, right?
Yeah,
that's almost a guarantee.
He's the father of all lies, so I'm sure he's lied a covenant.
So he takes everything godly and twists it. We know that. He's not really a creator. He's a twister. And so, or perverter, if that sounds better. And so, but so the key is we don't know.
I'm sorry. I can say I do not think satanic ritual abuse frickin' happens, because if Satan is anything, he's efficient, and he doesn't need to put on a cloak and go through all the work of getting 12 apostles to eat babies when the mother freaking abortion clinic will kill 15 of them today under the guise of wokeism. All right. So it's far easier to convince a feminist to shout her abortion than it is to get 12 apostles to don cloaked hoods and build a specialized basement with a secret temple where they can eat the flesh on its own. So yeah, I don't think it happened.
But could a bishop though?
Yes, but then it's not satanic ritual abuse. Now it's just abuse. So millstones. Millstones.
Right. And I think what you do is you don't necessarily split hairs over the satanic part of it, because kind of the way I make it okay is I say all abuse is probably satanic when you want to boil it right down to it. It's never a good thing to abuse children. Tell me that's not something the devil gets you to do. And I'm not saying that the devil makes all of that happen. Trust me, there's plenty of people out there that I know of that take that ball and run with it. But it's like the idea is that we don't split hairs over it's satanic or not. We go, that's abuse, and then we report that to the proper authorities and have them investigate it. And then we work therapeutically as a therapist on, even if that didn't happen, you think it did. And then what happens over time is you start to go, maybe that didn't happen.
Okay, but are you really? Okay, so here's something that I think is wrong. I think
we have a lot to get to here,
okay,
guys.
We will.
So I know this is
but
an engaging
horse
conversation.
thievery. Hold on. Horse thievery, I think, is wrong. Okay, I think killing animals is wrong. I think animal abuse is wrong. But if I'm a therapist and my neighbor's son comes in and he's like, you know what? I saw it, but my neighbor shot his unicorn point blank in the face. And I went over and I petted that unicorn as it died, and I stroked its little horn. And I said, dear unicorn, you're going to a better place. And so will you go with me, therapist, and report this animal abuse to the proper authorities? And you say, are you sure it was a unicorn? Yes, I know for a fact it was a unicorn. I'm sorry, if he says he saw a unicorn get shot by his neighbor, I'm not reporting it to the cops. I'm not. I'm telling him unicorns aren't freaking real, dude.
What if it's a white goat?
Well, no, this is a good question because you're not always dealing with unicorns. Dr. Cox it's not always satanic abuse or nothing. There's lots of things in between, and you don't know as a therapist.
And the problem is we've hyped it out of proportion because it's satanic abuse. And the problem is no, it doesn't matter if it's satanic or it's non-satanic, it's abuse. And if it's abuse, it needs to be investigated. And so we don't split the hairs about whether it's satanic or not. But these allegations against church officials and church leaders, it's like, of course, how many times has Donald Trump abused people? I mean, it's a popular person. They're gonna have allegations, and so what you do is you say, great, take that to the authorities, let them do their jobs. And the problem with all these cases is after all the pressure, and remember, think of the immense social pressure because of the satanic part of this. What did the authorities say? Like time after time after time was, there's nothing here. Like this doesn't hold any water. Any of the things where these kids are saying that, it feels like it's coerced. It feels like, they're like holding them and hugging them and cajoling them into these, these confessions. And I'm not trying to say that this kid wasn't abused, but Cloaks,
Chuck Norris,
I don't know that I would. I don't think I would be rounding people up.
Now let me say kind of something to back the Dr. Cox. I feel silly talking to you because you're actually an expert on this and I'm not. But there's a podcast that is cray that likes to say, hey, all abuse is satanic. I find that to be a bit of a cop-out because in one breath they're saying prophets eat babies, and when you say that's ridiculous, they say, oh, so you believe in no abuse at all? And you go, well, sure, there's abuse, but there isn't satanic ritual abuse. And they go, well, isn't all abuse satanic? And they try to get you with this turnaround. And you're like, look, bro, you just said Chuck Norris and Dallin H. Oaks were dining on a baby together, okay, for dinner last night, all right? And you're trying to equivocate that with just abuse that happens. Look, bro, abuse has happened since flipping Cain and Abel, all right? Let's chill out, all right? Like, of course that happens. No one's denying that. But what you're talking about is so far out there. And they're like, well, isn't it all satanic? And you're like, oh, geez. Yeah, okay, fine.
Well, isn't
you know what I mean?
Satanic? And so the answer is, it's like, of course, it's all satanic. But that doesn't make, the problem is that doesn't make it like, so all abuse has got the devil involved in it, and in these cloaks and all these other allegations. It means that, sure, all of it's not good. I mean, Jesus doesn't like it. And so if it's not of God, it's probably of the devil. And so it's one of those things where, of course it is, but it doesn't, where the problem where this gets out of control is we start dragging people into court. We start, this poor gentleman, I'm trying to remember his name. Is it Alan Hadfield?
Alan Hadfield.
Where he's dragged into court, and then the daycare center in California, where the allegations and the year after year of court battles with those kinds of things. See, these people are drug in under unless you can show that there's abuse, there shouldn't be a crime. But unfortunately, in these situations, they're guilty until proven innocent the second you say it's satanic ritual abuse.
Mm-hmm.
So you say it's abuse, they kind of go, well, maybe. Whereas satanic ritual abuse, it's like, well, then they must have done it.
So Dr. Cox, I want to get your thoughts on this. So we talk about this in episode 1 of the series. So if anybody viewing this, by the way, we have super chats and we have a few memes.
Yeah. I'm going to get to the super chats. Well, let me do the super chats right now because I actually had it already pulled up and these people have been waiting for like an hour. So Christian Kirby says, Mike, please fulfill your calling and remind Cardon to take and submit his role for Sunday school. What's my role for Sunday school? I don't get it. Why is that funny?
That's my Sunday school president.
Oh, I get it.
He's giving me a bad time.
Do you get like lots of callings to be like bishop or like elders quorum president and stuff because you're a therapist?
You know what happens to me? I get ward financial clerk. I get Sunday school secretary. It's like Me, like I'm the touchy-feely guy and you're making me the numbers guy? Like, how does that ever? It's the LDS church, right? They're like, you must not get enough practice at that. So let us give you these other
That's
qualities.
true. Yeah, yeah.
That's
Like,
funny.
All right, here we go.
For your
Okay,
own
the
good,
Chris
yeah.
Breezy says, in Russia, does the membership call each other brother and sister or comrade? Comrade Cox has a great
Tavares.
ring to it after all.
Actually, I'm curious, Starishna Cox, you were right after the curtain came up on the Iron Curtain fell. Did they still call each other Tavarish?
They would occasionally, but it was offensive.
Ah, okay,
It was
yeah.
always mocking because remember, the moment it dropped, they dropped it.
Wow.
They didn't always know what to go to next, but you would never. Communism was like even if you secretly wished for communism, you would never be like, "Yay, communism!" It was very much a no. They would never. It was everything was ribiata.
Arrabbiata.
Yep.
What's
And so you-
ribiata
ribiata.
mean?
It's like hey guys, right?
Yeah.
And so
Or
you'd
they'd say the trip, and I think they do this in Spanish as well, where like a waitress, they'll just be like, woman. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, girl. And you're like,
Женщина, женщина,
hey,
мальчик,
девушка, hey, girl. And you're like,
In Spanish,
"Jeez."
they use the feminized physical qualifier. So like
Right.
if you're skinny, they'll just say, "Hey, flaca," which literally means just like, "Hey, skinny girl." Or if you're a skinny guy, they'll say,
Oh,
"Hey,
shit's
flaco."
even
Or
worse.
if you're fat, they'll just say, "Hey, gordo." And it's like literally just
Oh, bro, that's even
it's
worse.
funny. Oh,
Jeez.
dude, if you're dark skinned, they'll be like, "Hey, morocho." You know what I'm saying? It's just like, oh, dude, yeah, no. Spanish is savage, bro. Like they'll just
Savage.
say that, but also it's done in an endearing way, though. Like it's very common to call your buddies that you're friends with, be like, "Hey, gordito,"
Ah,
and you're literally calling them fat.
wow.
But like it's like, "Hey, fat," but in a way that I like it, and you're just like.
Yeah.
You still just call them
Thank
fat,
you,
you
I
know what I'm
guess.
saying?
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yes.
So anyway, Ed2276 LDS says, "What is the reputation of LDS social service therapists? What's their reputation, Dr. Cox?"
Well, you guys are trying to get me like canceled.
Yeah.
Hell, this is
Yes, we are.
Isn't it? I mean, I've known a couple, and they were very well educated and respectable people. I mean,
I think personally, LDS Family Services social workers and therapists are actually really good. I actually really like. We enjoy our relationship with them. We enjoy working with them. There are some really, really fantastic clinicians there. I think because it's a big agency. I mean, think about the size of LDS Family Services. It's huge.
I don't know. They got
huge.
really shut down hardcore
They
post Prop
did.
8 in California
They-
because the LGBTQ lobby hates Mormonism now here.
Right.
It's crazy.
And they told, and after adoption kind of was off the
Yeah.
table, it also dropped.
There was a
bunch
lot of Catholic agencies that had to shutter their doors too because of the
Right.
activism post Prop 8.
And so it didn't really necessarily, that kind of made things a little bit rougher, but no, I think there's some really great ones. I think there's also some really, like anything, not great ones. You know, it's like any kind of thing you're going to do is you're going to get a mixed bag. I say to people, if your therapist is telling you something pleasant every single session after session, they're probably not doing their job.
That's great advice.
There should be some
That's
point
great.
at which you say, I don't like that guy right now because he said something that I don't like, that it gets a little sensitive. That's why I'm always like, we really shouldn't have Google reviews for therapy because if sometimes you said the harsh thing that said, look, I'm so sorry, I love you to death, that's not going to work. And now suddenly your client thinks you're mean or whatever.
How fascinating. It's interesting that it's kind of like churches too. There's plenty of churches you can go to where they just go, oh, you don't need to do anything. You know, you're all just saved. It's great. Let's sing some songs. We got a good rock band. We have a coffee bar, you know, and the pastor is highly incentivized not to say anything offensive to you because you are his income. You're his revenue stream. That's interesting.
So I think the biggest problem I have with LDS Family Services is that they get a bad rap generally based on policy, not necessarily them as a therapist. Does that make sense? So, for
Okay.
example, the hardest part about being a therapist at LDS, and I think this has changed, and there's some exceptions to this, like same-sex attraction, things like that. But in general, they get just a few number of sessions, and then they have to refer out. And so what happens is just as you're starting to develop that therapeutic alliance and really be able to lean into this a little bit, they've got to move them out. And so they kind of get this reputation of, you guys aren't that great. And really what's happened is they just haven't been given enough time to really do what they need to do.
Good answer. Good perspective.
Okay, interesting.
More super chats?
More super chats. Christian Kirby, to a certain extent, I just think, like, why don't we just give better training to bishops? Like,
well,
people that actually
I would
know
love
you.
that. I'll do really quick. Can I just do a quick PSA?
Yeah.
Public service
Hit
announcement.
it.
Bishops, please stop giving checks for the full amount of therapy to therapists. As a therapist who does this, I love your checks, but here's the thing. Try to work through their insurance. Bishops will give out checks for therapy and they never ask about insurance. We always are like, hey, Bishop, let's have you pay their copay. Let's have you work that towards their deductible, things like that that actually help them down the road rather than just give us a check that never gets registered, that kind of thing. So go through bishops. If you're out there, give me a call. I'll help you work through this if you want to. Go through insurance. It's already there. Take advantage of it. The church loses millions of dollars a year from sacred fast offering funds because we pay the full price.
Which, by the way, none of the anti-Mormon, ex-Mormon therapists ever give the church credit for. They always act like it's some kind of abusive organization that's trying. And I've seen nothing but bishops bending over backwards with sacrificial funds that have been given to people for marriage counseling, for guys I know were idiots. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. In fact, listen to this. I know several bishops out there. I don't want to throw their names out there, but I know several bishops out there right now that actually help non-members in their ward boundaries who never come to church, but they're like, look, you're in our ward boundary. Jesus loves you. Let us help you with some therapy if that's what you need. We have non-members who are getting bishops right now to help cover their copays. Wow. True story.
Jeez, man. Holy crap. Well, good on those bishops.
Sorry.
Christian Carey says, I've done lots of therapy. Therapy can be good to help, but the puzzle pieces of life together to help make better choices based on the full picture. All right. I like that comment that, you know, puzzle pieces of life together make better choices based on the full picture. Okay. Sam the Martian says, I love you guys and I'm glad to make it to a stream. I have a question for you all. What's the worst food you had on your missions? Oh, how about them fish, Comrade Cox?
Did you ever the first fish jerky, Joe? Did you ever do that?
No, man. I never did that.
I was always looking at that going, nah, man.
No, never.
Did you ever have holodettes?
Yes, I had holodettes. Yeah. I didn't think holodettes was that bad. I mean,
didn't think so either.
It was, you know, famous for being horrible. I didn't think it was that bad.
So, Cardon, holodettes is like jelly with like meat inside of it. So imagine meat jello.
Okay.
It was amazing.
It's like lard jello.
Dude, in Argentina, you just got asado. They have great barbecue. Everything good about Italian foods there. 85% of the population is Spanish or Italian. So you're getting some great asado. You're getting some great Italian food. Everything that's good about Italian food. You got everything from gnocchis to anything Napolitana. It's freaking awesome food. And what's hilarious, though, is like Argentines have no stomach for spices. So like when we would come down with like Mexican food or like even pepper, like just like black pepper, you know, you put like pepper on some mashed potatoes or something and they would literally say like, oh, guarda que pica, which means like, oh, watch out, that's hot. And I'm just like, black pepper? Like,
yeah.
You should see the Mexican guys in my high school on the soccer team.
Man.
I think they had Tapatio in their baby bottles. Like, because Tabasco sauce, that's like breakfast. The stuff that they walked home on was industrial acid, I'm pretty sure. All right.
Yeah.
You know?
What about Sala?
Sala. Yeah,
that's all it is. Sala is it's salt brine cured fat.
Yeah.
Pork fat. Did you ever have it with hair?
Oh gosh, no.
When I was there, you'd get this Sala and it'd be on the plate and there would be these like literally like boar hairs coming out of the back of it and you'd be like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can eat this.
Whoa, that's brutal, man.
Dude, did you ever have cow tongue or cow tail? Did you ever have cow tongue or cow tail? Weirdest thing I've rated on my mission was human flesh, but that was when Russell M. Nelson came to visit, and
That's true.
there was
That was a good time. That was a good time.
That was a good time.
That was a mission.
Good
conference.
times.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. So
you saved that delicacy.
So stupid. So okay, so here we go. Sam the Martian, I love you guys, and I'm glad to make it to a stream. Oh, no, sorry. Landon P. File just gave a super chat with nothing in it. Thank you, my man. And then here's another one that says Daily Wire Bash video. What? Daily Wire Bash video on
So,
LDS
by the way, Landon
came
P.
out
File
today.
actually works with Blaze TV.
Oh, really?
Blaze TV, yes, which is not TV about smoking marijuana, and it's not about fire jumpers fighting forest fires. It's something else.
So, yes, we are. By the way, which one? Because there's a couple that came out today. There was Matt Fradd and Joe Heschmeyer making fun of a lot of Jacob Hansen TikToks.
Boy,
And then there was
anybody think that this is a good look? Just be constantly griping, like Jacob Hansen is not hard to find. But they just go in their corner and they're just like,
this is what kind of pisses me off about what Matt Fradd and Joe Heschmeyer did. And I like Joe Heschmeyer, and I don't think that he instigated this, but he is a Catholic apologist, and he's doing his best to answer questions like Matt Fradd had. Okay. So I don't necessarily think that that's the conversation topic he would have chosen, having given the chance. Right. But what bothers me is I hate it when other religions that invented the scriptural basis of racism try and poke fun at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, foist it on us. And they say like, well, that the Mormon church didn't allow blacks to have the priesthood until 1978. BS. Joseph Smith was giving the priesthood to African Americans and ex-slaves and freemen, while you guys were still inventing the curse of Ham and justifying slavery with it. Like
the Jesuits had slaves. They dealt slaves.
It's like, so literally the apologist for the guys that actually owned slaves and justified it under the curse of Ham and invented the doctrine want to point at the people that after 50 years of persecution, just to fit in North America, we're like, I guess that's why Deseret is a slave state now. Like it's how dare you, bro? Like you are either wildly ignorant.
It's a bit rich,
and also I'm sick and tired of people being leveraged as experts when they can't pronounce basic words right. Like I like Joe Heschmeyer, but when he says, "Oh, that's why the Nauvoo Legion had to come out of Missouri," and I'm like, if you're saying Nauvoo, it's like that's like me saying, dude, I'm an expert on Catholicism. And let me tell you, Catholics, they'll believe any crazy shite as long as it's ex-cathedral. Because if the Pope says something ex-cathedral, then you know that it's like unfallible. It's like, I'm sorry, do you mean ex-cathedra or ex-cathedra? I don't think it's a cathedral's actually something else.
Yeah,
Art
shows they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, it shows they don't really know what they're talking about, and they're not experts. And I'm like, come on, Joe. Like, do you want to talk racism as a Catholic? Get out of here. You want to talk abuse as a Catholic? You don't want to go there.
No.
Like, what the hell are you doing, man?
And actually, that is episode 6, which will be coming out of this series, where we discuss the comparisons between the Catholic Spotlight scandal and the LDS non-scandal. Be interesting to follow up on that. But we have, because you guys have made it an hour, longer than an hour, we have just a couple memes.
Oh, good.
We would like to show you in the Discord.
I got it.
Cardon, there is a meme.
Is it this one that says B1?
Oh, yes. This is new merch that we are conceptualizing here, people. We're turning the pride flag inside out. This is B1.
It's the Pink Floyd flag.
If you are not one, ye are not mine. I thought that was delicious. I think that'd be a fantastic shirt. The other one is Back in Flesh, the new world tour, BC AD. 33 AD to 34 AD. I thought those were two fantastic little merches right there. But we have a meme just underneath that, which I think sums up a lot of this controversy.
Okay, I see somebody in a green shirt. What am I looking at here? Show me. What am I looking at?
So Jeremy, who is unmasking himself. He's got long hair and a mustache. He takes off the long hair and the mustache, and he looks precisely the same. It's a big reveal, and it's the same guy. And it's saying, right-wing anti-woke warrior, now right-wing woke warrior. Okay, so
that's
what we're dealing with here with the LDS abuse claims is the woke right. It is that you can't believe anything that you hear, anything that you see. You have to dig through the darkest cobwebbed corners of the internet to come up with conspiracy theories about, celebrities eating babies. Now,
dude, what's up with the right wing right now? This SRA crap is nuts, and they've all turned anti-Semitic overnight.
And anti-Semitic too. Yep.
It's like the wildest thing. Like, well, actually, I'm talking with some of these cats, and it's getting into the LDS influencers too. I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing? Are you so desperate to be accepted into the North American Protestant Club that you're just
what the heck are you doing? We don't speak French here on this channel, Cardon. Okay?
Yeah.
Not everybody understands French like you do.
Okay. Yeah, what the Nespa, or whatever that means, are you doing?
I wanted to highlight something here because some people have said, now wait a minute. There's a lot of allegations coming out right now about Jeffrey Epstein. And that was proven true. So, of course, it's possible that this stuff is happening in the LDS church. Now, here's a response to that. In 2002 to 2005, Jeffrey Epstein was indicted for sex trafficking of minors. 2008, he served prison time, pled guilty to prostitution with minors. He served 18 months for that. There were hundreds of millions of dollars of his fortune given to 136 girls, only the ones we know about, in settlement. Okay? And he had a ranch in Nevada, in New Mexico. He had a private island. This is not Dallin H. Oaks, guys. This guy had a history of criminal activity, of sexual deviance. He had hundreds of millions of dollars in a private jet. He was flying to his island and his ranch. Dallin H. Oaks is driving a Suburban. Stop it. You're embarrassing yourself. Thomas S. Monson was flying coach. He was driving a Suburban. He was eating at Little Caesars Pizza. Stop it. Comparing these people to Jeffrey Epstein is ridiculous. All right. Now, Russell M. Nelson has not so much as jaywalked in his entire 100-year life.
I know somebody that jaywalked once.
I know. Oh, and you better believe that's going to be part of the upcoming expose on We Are the People Utah podcast, which talks about my jaywalking from 2008. Yes, here you've heard it here. Look, let's get ahead of it. I jaywalked in 2008. Okay, are we good? Are we good? Can we not spend 3 hours talking about it on a podcast? Okay. You know they're gonna. Okay.
Aren't these leaders pretty busy? They have to chisel out every spare moment. When somebody somewhere go, yeah, where did he disappear for that long? It doesn't make any sense. I think, and again, that's to me is the biggest thing that makes me go about these, especially these upper echelon.
Okay, why? I got a question for you as a therapist, and this is more psychological, but right. I'm amazed at how many people have called me that earnestly believe that satanic ritual abuse is real. And I don't want to mock them like an atheist mocks somebody that believes in the golden plates or believes in a miraculous healing that could have happened in their lives. But when I look at the width and breadth of the evidence, they're just like, I think Jason Preston, I interviewed him. He seems like a very deeply sincere person. Mm-hmm. Seems like a very kind person. I would want him as a neighbor. You know what I'm saying? He had all the trappings of just a dude that wants to do good by others and wants to improve the world that he's living in, even to be willing to self-sacrifice, to the point of self-sacrifice. But in a 90-minute podcast, I couldn't get any evidence.
Right.
There was so much belief. And I love that. And as a person that defends belief all day long, I hate people that try and destroy faith. That's why I fought so hard against atheistic, secularized, progressive anti-Mormonism. because it was coming after people's faith, and you need faith. And sometimes I think even faith in something that's not the right thing is better than no faith at all, because it's training wheels towards the restored gospel and like true redemptive faith, right? But at the same time, like even the most spiritual giants in Mormonism have like a preponderance of evidence in their lives of times when like obeying a spiritual principle actually gave physical results that they could point towards, that you could hang your hat on as, okay, in my mind, this is evidence that this works. You know, whether it's very broad sweeping statements like, look at the overwhelming data that comes out of people married in the temple and sealed in the temple and how long their marriages last in comparison to secular data of people that are married just civilly and how long that generally doesn't last. Whether it's just overwhelming sociological data like that, or individual examples where, you know, I prayed and found my keys or something, you know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't get, after 90 minutes, any evidence of any of these like just so fantastic claims. Like Pastor and Michelle Remember, she talks about being locked in a trunk, experience a car accident that there was no documentation of, being abused for 84 days straight. Well, in her attendance record, she never missed one day of school, you know, and there wasn't even like one day missed. There wasn't even like one day where nobody could explain where she was, and maybe it happened then.
Let alone 81.
Yeah, let alone 81. So it's like, I'm just begging people that believe in this to show me 1 ounce of evidence. And I hate it when atheists say that Mormonism is just mass hysteria. Christianity is just, a hypnotic illusion of the masses. But I kind of feel that way looking at satanic ritual abuse, that it's like what phenomenon is it that can make wholly decent people just believe without evidence, like not even close to evidence?
I can tell you.
Like we got affidavits for people that held the Book of Mormon, and they all said the same thing. Like, I know all of the atheistic anti-Mormons right now are going to try and clip me and say, yeah, Cardon, do the gold plates next. Well, I can. There was like 27 people that interacted with the gold plates, and independently, without ever collaborating, they all corroborated the exact same physical description. Somewhere between 27 and 42 pounds, somewhere, the
size,
leafy,
the dimensions,
the size, the sound, the dimensions, like the gold. There's more evidence for what the gold plates looked and felt like from more people that had sworn affidavits that never retracted their testimonies. At this point, there's more forensic evidence of the gold plates than there are of like who shot Tupac Shakur. Okay. So like, I mean,
I'm glad you said shot, because he's still alive.
Okay. Yes.
But so Cardon, I'll answer your question.
But you're not a doctor.
Why do people believe this?
But you're not a doctor.
Well, this is my opinion.
Okay.
Why do people believe this? Why do people? Now, in episode 4, which is not out yet, you can find it on our channel, but it has not been released publicly yet. Episode 4 is coming, okay? And we talk a little bit about this. Why did Utah get the satanic panic fever harder than anywhere else? And I think one of the answers is empathy. Members of the church wanted to believe. These are children who are saying these things, or therapists who are saying these things, and people are saying, this happened to me, this happened to me. And members of the church are very kind, and they're very empathetic, and they don't want to say, what? Yeah, I mean, they want to be empathetic and say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that happened to you. And I think that contributes a lot to it, that we're a community. We're this tight-knit community. And someone says this terrible thing happened. And what do you think, Dr. Cox?
And I would agree 100%. I think I would add to it and say yes, and I think it's empathy on both sides. I think those individuals who would say maybe this happened to me are also looking for that greater empathy. It's this idea of, it's more than just I was abused. I was satanically, ritually abused. And I think they're looking for that greater, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that happened to you. And so I think that pushes that drive for like remembering these kinds of things, or maybe false remembering those kinds of
false
things.
remembering. And that's the question I had for you, especially Dr. Cox, is false memory syndrome.
Right.
So I'm not an expert on this, and I started diving into this, and there's literature, about false memory syndrome, and it was pretty controversial in the 1990s. Very kind of this fledgling niche kind of notion. Tell us, does this actually happen? Have you seen this? Is it prevalent? What do you think?
Absolutely. You have to be really careful about how far you push and how hard you push, because people will remember, again, to justify or to give credence or to lend weight or clout to what they're saying. And you have to remember that also that our memories are not as fixed or as set as we'd like to believe that they are. And so
that's a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow. It's a hard pill for me to swallow.
It's a hard pill for most of us to swallow. But we've shown it. We've proven it time and time again. These studies where they say, oh, this guy, he was black. He was in a hoodie. He was all these different things. And then you find out he wasn't at all. You show that video and it doesn't hold up at all. And so our memory is a little bit more dodgy than we like to think. In fact, an entire area of psychology is based on this fact. It's called sports psychology, because the idea of sports psychology is I walk myself through that play over and over and over again, doing it the right way, thinking that through, playing that play over and over and over again. So what happens as I do that, my memory starts to get a little bit wobbly of, did I do that or didn't I do that? And it's almost like you go into a game with far more experience than you normally have had, because you feel like you've done that a bunch of times.
Wow.
Makes sense?
I love it.
When you talk about sports psychology, they'll say, like, I want to see you bending down, scooping up that ground ball. I want to see you zinging that to first base, and I want you to work through that over and over and over again. Now I want it to be off this direction a little bit, off that direction a little bit. You kind of work through those plays, and they go through them over and over and over again. If you're MMA, it's, I want you doing combination of hits. Like, how do you going over those and over those in different scenarios? It's like you've almost fought the fight. You've almost played the game. You've almost done it before you even step into the ring or on the field.
This is what I'm going to do with jiu-jitsu. I'm going to just imagine myself beating Jacob Hansen.
There you go.
At jiu-jitsu. I just got to go through my
small.
Head again and again. Little noodle arms? Actually, come on, I could take it.
No, you know what's so funny is I went to the Bless God conference. I think 15 of the 16 minutes that I was sitting there with Trent Horn and Jacob Hansen, they were talking jiu-jitsu and about ready to start. Because jiu-jitsu guys, like all these apologists, they're into jiu-jitsu. Whether it's Cade Alvey.
So weird.
Jacob Hansen and Cade Alvey, they just did jiu-jitsu half the time that we were there. And then Trent Horn pulls up videos of him doing jiu-jitsu with like this other like orthodox.
Wait, Trent Horn also does jiu-jitsu?
Trent Horn does jiu-jitsu. And so like they all do jujitsu, and so finally I think it's such like, I've seen the studies, I'll be honest with you, I've seen the studies that it's great that you go out there and you exercise, but it's proven that martial artists, when they learn these martial arts, it's in a part of your brain that accesses muscle memory associated with artistry. But the second you actually get punched in the face for real, your body accesses the fight or flight part of your brain, and it just forgets all of its training. And it
forgets everything.
Everyone
has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. So like they just said, "Oh, I could take you, Cardon." I was like, I really don't think you guys could tank me. Like the second I just broke your nose and that searing
because Cardon's
pain.
like, I have a 4-foot reach.
Like I'm just like, but I did say this though. I said, okay, well, I obviously don't want to just like assert my dominance and just gosh on some friend of mine, right? So I said, let's keep it cool. Let's keep it cool. And I said, this is what I agreed to. I said, I think I could last 5 minutes with any of you guys and you couldn't pin me. You know what I'm saying?
So the next live stream, I think we know what the next live stream is going to be now.
Oh.
Yeah. I just got to wait for my knee to get better. I got to wait for my knee to get better.
Dude, let's do it.
Let's do this.
I will. So what's kind of funny is like he came up behind me on the in the living room when we were all just like there and stuff like that. And it was really kind of funny because it is a force magnifier. Like the training is a big time force magnifier, and a guy that knows what he's doing. It's like trying to get a spider monkey off your back, dude. It's just like, what the heck, you munchkin, freaking little flying squirrel, you hamster. How'd you get back there? You know what
I'm gonna get on eBay and I'm gonna get you guys one of those like Rock'em Sock'em robot games, and you guys can. The next thing you guys rock and we see Cardon versus Jacob.
So I said we'll do a charity round. round.
Oh yeah.
If you can't get me to tap out and I last 5 minutes, I win, right?
Dude, you end up better friends in the end. You end up much better friends in the end when you get in the fight. We need more fights. Did you guys have a wrestle culture in your mission? We had a wrestle culture in our mission where you'd get a new companion, you'd bring him back to your apartment or whatever, you'd be there in the apartment, it'd be the end of the first day, and you'd be like, all right, Elder, let's do this. And you'd wrestle your companion. Greenies were like, what's going on? And it's just like wrestling match.
We would play hockey. And I know that eventually became super forbidden. But like, I mean, we'd like the first little bit there, it'd be like, Elder, we got to get you out and get you a stick, because all of us would play hockey. And I mean, we would check each other. It was like, it would get rough.
Okay.
Did you guys also have the, remember when you were a greenie and they'd bring home babies and you just like eat them? Remember that? It's just so great. Just like to like bond over just like devouring human flesh.
Must have come
It's
later.
so fun.
It was before Russell Nelson hadn't visited us yet. So
well, he's he pushed it real big during his presidency.
Dude, like this is just so crazy. Okay, last 3 super chats here. Landon P. File says, I saw the Matt Frad one. There were more. Yikes! The more time I spend in DC, the more my eyes are open to the hypocrisy of trad cats. Big fan, by the way. It's
traditional cats.
Trad caths, I think is what he meant.
Catheters?
Catheters. No, it's trad.
I don't like
cats.
any kind of catheter.
It's
whoa, no. This is
when trad caths are fighting secularism and fighting anti-faith movements. I think there's no better content out there. It's that like I almost feel like the right doesn't know how to govern in America. They only know how to rebel. And I hate to say it, but this is why I kind of think Daddy Newsom's going to be president, because at the end of the day, he's willing. People say, oh, well, he's such a this or such a that, or I could never believe it. Dude, I'm sorry, but it seems like once the right wing didn't have something to rebel against, it completely lost its way.
Oh, they came after us.
Yeah, it's like they came after us. They came after. I mean, who's killed Charlie Kirk now? Like it's everybody except for the Protestants, you know, and it's just so nuts.
No, well, I'm not
now.
voting for Newsom until he breaks bread with us, and by bread I mean children.
Oh no, actually, I hate to say it,
flesh together,
dude. Gavin Newsom, I would actually argue right now, besides Donald Trump himself, who's very friendly to Mormons, okay, Gavin Newsom is the most pro-Mormon. The guy. The head of the California Highway Patrol, which is the state police. It's called the Highway Patrol because that's the euphemistic numeration for it. But they report to the governor. And the governor of California runs the 7th largest military, 5th largest economy in the world. Gavin Newsom is stronger than almost any European leader when it comes to just sheer force of dominance of power, population, influence, all of the above, okay? If all the military might of California just were to follow orders of Gavin Newsom, we would have an army that could destroy half the republics of Western Europe, okay? So
Not
it's
the
like
Utah Tongans, though, man. We got Utah. Utah's got the Tongans.
Nobody could take the Tongans or the Samoans, especially.
Well, California has the Tongans too, though. So
I was about to say, they're all in Long Beach, bro. So
right.
we got them all. But so it's like Gavin Newsom's chose as the head of the CHP, the Kingsmen. They would be called state troopers in any other state, but our state troopers are the California Highway Patrol. Numero uno guy that reports to Gavin Newsom, talks to them every day, Mormon.
Oh, cool.
You know what I'm saying? So
cool,
it's
I like it.
I mean, if he were anti-Mormon, he wouldn't have chose that guy. And I don't see Mike Huckabee doing that anytime soon. You know, I don't see You know, well, actually,
Candace Owens.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't see Candace Owens doing that anytime soon.
Candace Owens 2028, man.
So anyway, yeah, dude, I gotta tell you, I think do not sleep on Gavin Newsom, dude. I mean, it's sure. Do I hate I signed the recall Gavin Newsom. No, actually, that was recall Gascon. Sorry, there was not a recall Gavin Newsom thingy. That was a horrible DA that we had in Los Angeles. But it's like, you know, you can love to hate him if you want, but dude, that dude makes overtures, goes to the middle, talks the talk, might have been a horrible governor, you know, but dude, like when he sat down with Sean Hannity, freaking mopped the floor with him. Mopped the freaking floor with him, dude. Sits down with all these right-wing guys, like everybody from Ben Shapiro to Charlie Kirk, and chums it up with them. And it's like, dude, I don't see the right wing able to do that with the left. Like, I hate to say it, but if I were a betting man, I'd bet on the G-man, dude.
Okay. All right.
So anyway,
well, he better show up and break bread with us. But okay. So Dr. Cox.
Yes.
So to tie this up with a bow here, false memories are how long have you been a therapist, by the way? Like, when did you start?
20. So I've been doing it for 26 years.
Has it changed?
So that's not counting like internships and things like that. So like
has the view of false memory changed in the past 20 years? Like, hey, shoot, this is a thing we have to watch out for, or was that already baked in when you got into therapy?
Already baked in after, because I graduated in 2000, and so it was already baked in by that point, just because of all of this hullabaloo during the 80s and 90s. And it was particularly, from my memory, was particularly around this satanic ritual abuse idea of these false memories of people having abused me, those kinds of things. And so I think it's kind of like one of those things where people kind of go, oh, okay, because we're not really, memories are rough. And that's kind of why we have that attitude of, yeah, maybe you did, maybe you didn't, maybe you were, maybe you weren't. We don't really get in the habit of like of determining truth. We kind of let you do that as we go along through the process.
Because it's dicey.
It's why it's bad for therapists to be truth and fact finders. You should never, as a therapist, get up and testify, yes, this happened, or no, it didn't. You have to have some really good, solid evidence of that. Otherwise, we're not capable of that. We can't, there's no magic of like you're lying or you're telling the truth.
And I hope that the message of this series, actually, Cardon, maybe we should talk about this now. When are we going to publish episode 4 for everybody?
It's come 4, 5, and 6, I believe, are going to be released daily, and it's probably going to be weekend content.
Awesome. So you know episode 4 kind of completes the arc. It shows you how a lot of the players in this panic who kind of set the ground, that built the Glenn L. Pace memo hysteria, that they get exposed and their careers crumble. And therapy and psychology really learn from a lot of this in the 90s. They're kind of like, all right, and law enforcement. They say, okay, so confessions, memories, eyewitness accounts aren't just, gospel truth. We need to build some guardrails against this so it doesn't get out of control. So episode 4 deals with that, coming down off the hangover from the satanic panic. And it's excellent. I really am excited. I hope people endure to episode 4 because it shows all these players and how they're all totally exposed. Then episode 5 deals with the Brenda Miles case, when Russell M. Nelson himself was accused, and is still accused, of dining on toddlers.
Are you kidding me?
Rack of toddler. Oh no, this is. Look, there's a guy in the chat right now who, this is a real accusation. And then episode 6, then episode 6 will deal with kind of closer to home, a little more modern. We're moving forward in the chronology in the 2000s, the Paul Adams case in Arizona and those things. So please stay tuned. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe and share it around. We really want to get ahead of this because there's a couple reasons why. I believe that the brethren are marvelous people, and this is the kingdom of God on earth. Okay. And that's really, really good. Also, somebody very dear to me has been abused. And it does no one any good when we entertain and we broadcast ridiculous claims. It jades people against real victims. There's real abuse going on. And these people we need to have trust that what they're saying isn't hogwash. And when you have hogwash salesmen out there, it hurts it. Okay? So the best thing we can do for real abuse victims is stop listening to absurd podcasts or conspiracy theorists who are trying to make a quick buck by saying Dallin H. Oaks dines on toddlers. So those are the couple reasons why we did it. I hope you guys enjoy this series. We're so grateful that Dr. Cox could come on here and help me so that I don't get too many things wrong. We provided all our sources. The sources are also available at glennlpacememo.com. We wanted that website to be out there so that it could get good SEO, so that we could finally put this to bed, so that this slow creep of the woke right insanity could be we could blunt the spear a little bit, because it's getting worse. So if you know somebody who believes in this stuff, you can send this to them, and hopefully it can give them some context. If you know somebody who claims that they've been abused, don't dismiss them. Don't say, you're stupid or ridiculous. Don't do that. There is no exception to the rule of loving your neighbor. There's no exception.
They still need support.
They need some, even if they're totally wrong, even if those memories are false, they still believe them, and they still deserve our love. So anyways, Dr. Cox, anything you want to add?
Amen.
Okay, but at what point do you say, come on, bro?
Well, maybe you can do both. You can say, yeah, I don't know if I believe you, but I love you, man. I love you,
Okay, here's
man.
what we'll do. You talk to him first, and by the end of the third time, then I'm just be like,
I'll be like,
come
you know
on,
what?
bro.
I can't handle this. Go talk to Cardon. I can't take any more of this.
I can't.
Cardon,
I'm
we
sorry.
need you, Cardon.
I would be literally the worst bishop of all time.
Or the best.
Maybe, yeah.
Dude, if I found out some guy was beating his wife, I'd just be like, bro, what are you doing? You do that again, I'm just gonna thump you. Literally, I'm just gonna come over and in the name of God thump you. It will be religious violence at its best. You know what I'm just saying? Okay, I probably
First
shouldn't
counselor
have said
Hemuli would be over there to visit you.
that. Just what are you doing, dog? It's just I can't believe it. Ladies, quit gossiping. Stop it. I hear you from the other end of the foyer. It's toxic. I don't know. I could never be bishop. I don't know.
No.
This is maybe why I don't get asked to give talks at church.
This is why you're not called as bishop.
This is I will not. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, here's the last of these super chats. Thank you everybody who has been contributing to these super chats. It's been a lot of fun hanging out with you guys here. Last, I believe it's 3 of them really fast. We've got Sin Tan says, I just wanted to shout out Jonah. I just bought your book, The Key to the Keystone. I'm very excited to get it and start reading it. Oh, well, that's good to hear.
Thank you so much. You can also, remember, if you scan one of the QR codes, you get the free audiobook. So if you don't have time if you want to just listen on your way to work, you can just listen to. Thank you so much for getting my book.
Rock on. Landon P. File says, I saw the Matt Fradd one. There were more. Yikes. The more time I spend in D.C., the more my eyes are open to the epoxy. Oh, we already read that one. Sorry. Now, Quadruple Digit, member for 28 months, says, yo, is that a typewriter behind you, Cardon? Ooh, he spotted it. Dude. Wow. Good eye, bro. He's the first person in literally years of this being here that noticed it. Actually,
Cardon has a thing with typewriters. He's got a thing.
Do you know what this is, Jonah? Or this is actually a very specific type of typewriter.
That's a very early iPhone, actually.
Yes, it is.
iPhone 2.
No,
I don't know what that is.
It's actually an Italian brand that was registered in the United States of America. Many consider it the finest travel typewriter ever made. It's the Latera 22, which I restored, and it is finely oiled, and I actually do indeed write letters of thank you on it. Also, if you buy merch in the merch store, I will sometimes write personalized notes if I recognize somebody's username or something like that. And so I have a typewriter here. I have a typewriter inside the house. I have a typewriter.
He's got a thing for typewriter. The more you get to know Cardon, the more you uncover these really strange esoteric hobbies that he has. And you're like,
also, if
not
you're
common.
If you're a friend of mine, you've probably received a Harley Davidson jacket, and you may sooner or later walk out with a typewriter. Oh, you know who else has a typewriter that I restored for him?
Here we go. Here we go, people.
No,
you had to ask.
small
You had to ask about the typewriter.
And simple screens, Austin Falter. I believe if you look at his YouTube channel, anything recent, I'm going to see if I can pull it up. Does he have anything that he's filmed inside of his studio? Oh, he doesn't have anything he's filmed inside of his studio, at least on Instagram. I'm going to look on YouTube. You can see he's got a 1913 Underwood that I restored for him that was the first QWERTY keyboard standard desktop.
Oh, the 1913, an excellent year.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent typewriter, that one.
Full-bodied.
And it works, by the way. It works. I had that one actually. Here it is.
Today I want to talk to you about how can we...
Oh, wait, hold on a second. If I pull him up on his screen right here, small and simple screens, I'm going to make it so you guys can see it. If we fast forward through, he got rid of the stash. Let's see if it comes through. Let's see if you can see it. Oh, there it is right there. See to the left of that bust, that statue bust, underneath his thumb. See right where his thumb's touching? That's an Underwood typewriter. So, yeah, sorry. I don't know how he got. Thank you very much for the super chat. I went down a rabbit hole there. I apologize.
So I'll know if I've made it if I get a typewriter or Harley Davidson.
There you go.
Yeah,
Man.
Brad has. Brad got the Americanized Latera 22 that was made by Underwood. He got a good one. So anyway, then last one is Paw 13W says the appeal to authority is strong and often wrong. Okay. Yeah, sure.
Unless
fair
we're
enough.
the authority. Unless Cardon or myself are the authority.
Yeah.
Guys, you can just appeal to us, guys. You can take it to the bank. You don't need to check anything. You know?
Well, when the authority
Take
is
it.
well behaved, it's one of the ultimate appeals. Like God is the ultimate well-behaved person, else he would cease to be God. I mean, that's the premise of Mormon doctrine, right? That he does not violate covenants or principles of goodness, lest he would cease to be God, okay? And Jesus Christ was the ultimate authority on goodness and patience and long-suffering because he was good and patient and long-suffering in the face of ultimate betrayal by his own friends, his state. Nobody was there for him when he was crucified, right? It's the ultimate tragedy in the extreme, right? So it's like, I would say the appeal to authority is the most important as long as that authority is a good authority, a well-behaved one. Like, I'm not anti-academic. I'm not anti-scholar as long as academia and scholars are well-behaved and actually following the scientific method and good scholarly practice, not just being gatekeeping high school pricks, you know, that are trying to keep people like Jonah Barnes from making a good point or two about the Apocrypha, right?
Yeah.
So DDD doctrine.
Don't you think that also the authority should make sense too? There should be kind of this, okay, that passes the sniff test of that makes sense to me. I can kind of figure it out.
Yeah, that's true. But to me, that's just part of good behavior. If you're not passing a sniff test, then you're not doing good behavior. So, all right, we got to wrap this up soon. We're oh my gosh, it's embarrassing. We've already gone 30 minutes over our usual end time. Bro, thanks for hanging out with us. Where can people find you if they want to find you or they want to talk to you or they want to like confess their satanic ritual abuse? What is it?
VeritasMentalHealth.com.
Are you like big with James O'Keefe? Like you just like, you know, you just try and get people to confess their neoliberalism and neoconservatism?
That's right. No, it's about the truth, and that's what we focus on.
Okay.
What really works.
I'm
really
digging.
works.
I'm
So
digging.
that's our thing.
All right, and Jonah, where can people find you?
Hang on. There's I'm testing my Latin. Somebody in the chat is speaking Latin. Mine's elementary, but they said my go-to phrase is "Draco dormiens nuncam titilandus," which I think means "never tickle a sleeping dragon." I don't know if that's true.
Okay.
I'd be very, very proud if that were true. Sorry. Where you can find me, right here at Ward Radio. This is where I am. I have a channel. People, I don't know why anyone's subscribing to my channel. I don't do anything with it. I have 1,000 subscribers. It's like I send messages to my kids on this channel. It's not anything public at all. And people keep subscribing to my channel. I'm like, what do I have to do? There's like 6 videos, and they're like for like a conference, like a meeting I made or something. I'm like, hi, honey, I'll be home soon. And people are subscribing. I don't understand what's wrong with you people. This is the channel. This is, come here. This is where you find me. I don't. It's
That's
driving me crazy. I don't know. Everyone's like, "Oh, make your own channel." No, I don't want my own channel. I don't want my own channel.
Okay.
Very happy here.
I've got enough. I've got enough on my plate.
Yeah,
So-
but hey, look for episodes 4, 5, and 6 that are coming about the satanic ritual abuse. They're coming, and they're great. They're good. So
Yeah, these are going to be awesome. We got to get them out soon. So last one is DDD Doctrine. Just joined the basic telestial ticket. Wow, we got another member here. We'd like to welcome DDD Doctrine, the Ward Radio Wigwam. Everybody would like to welcome him. Please put a W in the chat. And one last super chat just slipped in. He said, that's the Hogwarts motto. That's what it was. Never tickle a sleeping dragon is the
dude,
Hogwarts
I
motto.
totally got that. I'm very proud of myself for getting that.
All right. Rock, dude, good job. And
I'm so proud of myself. That's
DDD
great.
Doctrine, a solid Harry Potter reference. Harry Potter did teach me Spanish in my mission. I got permission from my zone leader. I said, I've learned all of the Spanish in the Bible and the ensign, and it's all religious Spanish. I want to learn more than just religious Spanish. So for my language study, can I read a book in Spanish? He said, which one? I said, Harry Potter y la piedra filosofal. And he said, Harry Potter? Yeah, sure. It's a kid's book. You know what I'm saying? So I actually read Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone in Spanish for my language study while I was in Pilar, Argentina. So that's pretty funny right there. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We do want to see you guys in person if you can make it, all right? We've got the Salt Lake City Takeover coming out on General Conference Eve, all right? Yes, it's at a coffee shop. It's actually not at the coffee shop, but it's at the public space next to the coffee shop that is owned by the coffee shop. But I'm saying it's a coffee shop just because that's really funny. But yeah, we got the Salt Lake City Takeover coming up. We're going to be talking with Jared Halverson. We're going to be talking with Pastor Jeff. Kwaku and Brad are going to be there. Brittany the Shadow is. Same with Jasmine Rappley and David Snell talking about the ethics of interfaith engagement. Me and Jared Halverson are going to be talking about peacemaking versus peacekeeping. And then me, Kwaku, and Brad are just going to have fun asking goofy questions with all the other influencers that can show up. We're going to have Sage Adams there, as well as Cade and Baylor from All Those in Favor, and Gwyneth from Gwowls. We also, I believe Chandler's showing up. Jacob Hansen has his debate that night, so they might be coming afterwards if they can make the ride down, but I think they're going to be swamped by fans. So it's going to be a lot of fun. You guys can get your tickets at wardradio.com under the events tab. It's the Salt Lake City Takeover. Also, if you want to support the channel, please make sure you guys get a shirt at the Ward Radio merch store, or did you order one of our popular War in Heaven veteran hats, who Jonah Barnes does not get enough credit for having come up with the prototype. I did the design of the one that you guys see right there in front of you, but the OG hat, do you know I still have that one hanging in my closet, bro?
Sweet. Yeah, man. It's going to be worth $1 million someday.
Yeah, I'm very sure that will happen.
It could be today.
Yeah, that's true. Also, big shout out to our sponsors like Go and Do Travel. We've got a comedy cruise coming up with them in January, as well as Angel Studios and Scripture Notes and Tiny 3D Temples. They've been very generous contributors to this channel, and we are thankful for their support. You guys can check them out at scripturenotes.com, tiny3dtemples.com, and angel.com, respectively. Also, go and do, I believe it's goanddotravels.com. So please, for more information, please check them out there. And other than that, it's been real, and it's been fun, and it's been real fun for this and more. You guys hang on the line with me for 30 seconds. But for this and more, please make sure you guys check us out at wardradio.com.
I built a rocket in